You're listening to the Empire Network.
Hello, listeners, and welcome as we join you as you embark on a journey into our small screen temple. It's a pleasure to be back with you, all of our listeners, after a nice little hiatus. We, like most TV shows, took our own little winter holidays, but we're back as the shows start picking up steam. We got a great show lined for you guys tonight. We're going to be heavy on a couple of topics, but don't worry, the conversation will carry you along. I'm your host, McMahon. It's a pleasure to be here with you guys. We talk about all of your TV news. And joining us on our panel this evening is esteemed guests. Adam, how you doing tonight?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good today. How about yourself?
I'm doing. Weather's crap. Internet's been out most of the day.
Oh, don't even start with that weather. The past
What?
3 days, it's gone from negative 30 to 50.
Okay. Sounds like you're in Canada. Sage, how you doing?
I'm alive, so that's a start. And by the way, don't ever steal my I'm doing. You couldn't come up with your own?
I'm doing.
Man, it's bad enough that you stole championships. Now you're stealing lines?
Unless you have that trademarked, he can steal as
That's
much
right.
as you want.
That's right.
It's trademarked under the wink wink nudge nudge section.
I didn't get that section. Sorry about your luck.
I'm pretty sure that one's actually trademarked.
Ah, shucks. Well, no, I'm doing pretty good. Although Adam complaining about the weather is just funny because I mean it was minus 43 with wind chill here one morning on the weekend.
You guys,
so.
you guys live in Canada. It's expected for that to be that cold.
That's actually true.
Yeah. Although when you haven't had temperatures anywhere close to that and that comes, it tends to feel like the wind is just tearing right through your skin, which isn't fun.
Not at all.
Sure it is.
Fizz, what do we have on the agenda tonight?
Well, we got a fairly light agenda tonight, so we're going to talk mostly about two shows, and we're going to jump that off with the one that just came back from its winter hiatus, The Walking Dead. So I'm going to cede the floor as you guys bring us up to speed on our denizens of Georgia.
You're still not caught up.
Not even a little.
Oh my god, you're fired.
Speaking about that, there is a report, now that you mentioned Georgia, there's a report out there today that's been picked up by a few different sites that claims season 7 of The Walking Dead is going to be shot in Knoxville, Tennessee, which would be a first.
Interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Mm-hmm. Pardon me, I'm eating peanut butter cookies. I shouldn't be doing that on the
Put
air.
the cookies down. We got work to do, man.
But, you know who could have used some peanut butter cookies? That poor kid.
I don't think you can see the peanut butter cookies.
Not that kid.
Oh.
Which one? The one that got eaten or the one that got stabbed?
The one that got eaten. I was shocked that they showed that. What was his name again?
He wasn't important enough to remember.
I feel like I should know his name and I can't remember. Anyways, man, I'm struggling here because I can't remember any of their names. Can you remember Rick's love interest's name? It just hit me here. I completely lost it. All of it. Take that as a no. Anyways, Rick's love interest, the blonde, which sounds bad.
It was Jesse.
Jesse, that's it.
Thank you, Google.
So you have Jessie and her two kids, along with Rick and Carl and Michonne, walking their way through the walkers while covered in walker guts. And
It's like a good time.
the dumb boy, as I like to call him, because anytime he was on here, I couldn't stand him. Kid was friggin' annoying.
Was it Ron? Was it what was it? What was the younger one? Sam?
Wasn't Ron. Sam. That's it.
Sam?
It was Sam. Ron was the other one.
Okay.
But just he wouldn't. He said he can do it. He can do it. And
he was doing fine until he saw that kid.
Until he wasn't.
That was a zombie. As soon as he saw that kid, the zombie, that game over. He was done.
Yeah. That it's weird because when the zombies come in on Sam, who really is just a kid, I didn't think they'd show that. I thought they'd pan the camera away and everybody would yell. I was stunned when they actually showed the zombies, literally ripping his face apart. And the way they shot it, you almost didn't know if he would, if it was actually happening or it was him imagining that it was happening. But sure enough, he wasn't imagining it. They ripped the kid to shreds. And obviously the mother is just stunned and bawling, and attracting attention. And Carl and company is trying to pull the mom away, Jesse. And I mean, I'd probably be a lot like her. I mean,
and the walkers ate good.
Yeah, and the walkers took her, which, I mean, that obviously stabbed Rick because Rick really liked her. Yeah. And then he finally came to and cut off her arm that was attached to Carl's arm, or her hand, after she had already been eaten. And then you turn and Ronnie there is holding the gun up at Carl.
Trying to go Clint Eastwood on him.
Pretty much. And we get the Governor 2.0 death, where all of a sudden the sword comes through the torso.
I'm surprised they showed that too. Or did it that way.
And that was it for Ronnie. But as he's falling, he gets a shot off, which I believe, if I read this right, goes into Carl's eye, but ricochets out through the side.
Yeah, it completely misses his brain because of the way the angle is. It goes through. It was sort of at an angle where it went. Say if you take your finger and put it at the inner part of your eye and go outwards through your eye. That's sort of the way the bullet went.
But Carl, in his Superman-like strength, is able to turn to his dad after he's gotten a bullet go through his eye and his head and say, "Dad," before falling down.
That could happen. You got to think. You got adrenaline going. You're covered in walker guts. You got walkers all over.
No, I'm sorry. The bullet goes through your eye, you're going down. Especially him as a kid.
Let's go
It's
try
a show
it.
about zombies. Logic left the show a long time
Let's go
ago.
try it. You be Carl and I'll be the guy with the gun.
I think we should reverse those roles. Anyway, Carl ends up surviving, as we know, and Wolf dies, the Wolf Pack leader. No, not Kevin Nash.
Darn.
But
I could just imagine if he was in the show, he'd probably blow out his knee running across the yard right there.
Tara's quad.
So he dies, although it seemed like he was almost redeemed at the end.
It looked like he was having a change of heart halfway through that.
Yeah, even at the end, as he's getting shot, he tells the girl to run. And then Carol realizes, oh no, Morgan was right. So there's that. The part that got me in the episode was towards the end. I really thought Glenn was going to bite the dust. It seemed like he was.
That scene was hilarious. Every time I see that scene, it's hilarious.
It seemed like he was done in for good, right in front of Maggie too, which would have been poetic. But Abraham and Daryl and Sasha to the rescue. What was it Abraham said to him too after blowing?
Can you open the gate, pal? Well, they got some pretty damn good aim, but not one of them hit him.
Yeah. Although Abraham's a badass, and so's Daryl.
Oh,
so
Daryl wasn't even shooting.
He wasn't. Oh, he was driving, right?
It was the girl.
Yeah.
Sasha.
Yeah. Wouldn't trust her aim. Good God. She'd probably shoot Glenn on purpose.
Oh, shit, she's a good shot. No, she had enough practice, but she kept wandering off.
So what's come out tonight is early in the episode when Daryl blows Negan's people to hell. And I really thought the guy on the bike was going to kill Abraham and Sasha. I thought that was going to be it for those two, and Daryl will get away at the back. That doesn't happen. Daryl ends up blowing them all up with the RPG. Tends to help. It turns out that it's been spotted by a few fans, and it's made its way all around the internet today.
They must have freeze framed that scene.
Yeah, because that's at all hard to believe.
100 times over.
Yeah, there's a car in the background watching what's happening. Now, either it's more of Negan's people, which seems most likely, or Negan himself. I'm going with more of Negan's people, and they go back to Negan and report. I always thought that the group from Alexandria would end up wherever Negan is. Now I've completely had like a role reversal in that. No. Negan's going to come to them. And Negan's just going to fuck their shit up. Someone's going to meet Lucille. Is that the name? Name of the bat? Fizz, you should know this.
Of what?
Negan's friend, shall we say.
I actually don't know.
Oh. I thought...
It's not even canon yet. We don't even know if he's going to have that.
Oh, he's going to have that. Give me a break. You don't bring him in and not the Lucille, the ball bat and the barbed wire.
That's true. Especially with that last episode, how much they took directly from the comics.
So, no, someone's going to get it. And I do think, just like in the comics where Glenn gets not gutted, but Glenn meets Lucille, I think that we're going to end this season with multiple of the main characters meeting an untimely death. How about you, Evel?
Oh, wait, well, they got a pretty good track record the way it started off. Just one, you think the first 5 minutes, 7 people died instantly.
I think it was 3, but
no, there was more than 3 bikers.
Oh, right. You had the bikers, and then you had the family, and then you had Wolf. It was a violent episode.
No, it was a great episode.
No, one of the best of all time.
Best part of the episode was when they almost killed Carl. Sorry, Arl, because he won't be seeing anymore.
I would give the episode an honest top 5 rating all time.
That's probably one of the best episodes I've ever had.
I can't call it the best. There's a few episodes better than that, but
well, that's because you're a government lover.
Damn right, and that's why I'm going to be a Negan lover. A good villain makes shows.
True.
But yeah, no, we have an exciting season of The Walking Dead ahead. I will say or ask you this, Evel. Your money. Give me 2 of the main clan that you think will be dead by the end of the season.
Glenn and Daryl, more than likely.
I'm going to say Glenn and Sasha.
I don't see her dying yet.
That's unfortunate. She should have already been dead. Would have rather her die than Tyrese.
Dying?
Yeah. I could see Daryl dying too, the way that it's going. I don't want it to happen, but...
Unless they portray him with a better role than what they have right now, I see him dying.
Quite possibly.
Hey, we did finally see some character growth out of Eugene.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Yep, he came out and kicked some ass.
They were all
And
hacking and
and
slashing.
he probably had one of the best lines in the entire show too.
That episode was like the definition of a hack and slash. Anyways, though, that is our Walking Dead discussion for this week. We're gonna move it on. Fizz, what do we have?
Before we go, I'm going to assume that was a Sword and Shield reference and not Megabytes robots.
I have no idea what you're talking about, but
The
okay.
fact you don't understand a reboot joke just saddens me.
It's been a while.
I don't care how long it's been.
Reboot was no Dragon Ball Z, so
It's still a classic.
some of the episodes were amazing in Reboot, but some of them were also terrible.
That's true enough. But let's jump into our next topic of conversation, and that's the ongoing adventures of the Winchester clan.
Yes,
And
yes.
boy, oh
Super.
boy, this is the first time we've been on Small Screen Temple since the winter premiere, right?
I believe so. So let's do a quick recap of what's happened. Dean and Cass went down to save Sam, who was in the cage with Lucifer again.
We're picking up in the premiere, the winter premiere. Here, for those of you who aren't adjusted to the first half of the season, God's sister
Spoiler
is
alert.
evil, and she's trying to, I don't know, possess Dean to be her.
Who's really more evil, God's sister or God, who's nowhere to ever be found and just lets everybody else clean up his mess?
Well, it's tough to say. We haven't really seen God doing many acts of evil, whereas we have seen Amara,
From a certain point of view.
Well, yeah, but we
I'm
haven't
very
we
Dean
haven't
Winchester
physically
right now.
we haven't physically seen God, suck the souls out of innocent people.
No, he's just letting the soul sucking happen.
Well, letting it happen and doing it are, both evil, but on the scale of evil, I think, actually doing it is a bit more dirty. But
Yes. So anyway, Lucifer begins to kick Sam and Dean's butt pretty good, and there's some great
Pretty
exchanges
good?
in there. And it's Mark Pellegrino in these episodes is just off the wall amazing. So what happens is Sam won't let Lucifer use him as a meat suit. Now the common sense would be it's Lucifer, you had the witch could have found a way to have Lucifer have his old meat suit and make it work. However, Pellegrino has a very busy schedule.
well, he
so
did, since, that was the form he was possessing at that time.
Yeah,
He didn't have the meat suit.
Pellegrino has had a very busy schedule.
You think? The guy's like the villain and everything.
Yeah, so they went with the next best option, and that was Cass said yes to let Lucifer possess him as long as it got rid of Amara. And, I mean, the way it happened was kind of Cass more or less just gave himself up. But if there was someone that you had to have be Lucifer and Pellegrino's not available, Misha Collins is a pretty good
Outside
pick.
of putting him back inside Jared, because, Future Devil was pretty damn awesome in that episode.
Yeah, but no, I'm done with the boys being those guys.
Well, I am too, but that's the option nobody thought. I mean, if we were talking in December, okay, well maybe Cass is going to be the vessel. Like, come on, you're kidding, right? That's a joke.
See, Misha Collins though in that episode when it's revealed who he is his performance is amazing. It's totally believable. Loved it. Quite possibly next to Pellegrino, the best performance of the season so far.
Definitely got to see a satisfying ending to Amara, to Rowena.
If she's actually gone for good.
Well, I'm pretty sure if the devil snaps your neck, you're not coming back.
Unless the devil needs you.
Well, perhaps, but I'm going to go with she did.
I'm going to go with we will definitely 110% see her again.
I'm still going with she did. We might see her again.
Well, hold on. You guys are talking about a show between the devil and the god.
True enough.
If someone's gonna kill someone and come back to life, it's gonna happen regardless.
True
of what
enough.
happens.
I'm saying she's still dead. Like she's dead. That's probably not the
Yeah,
last
she
time
might.
we've seen her, but she's dead.
She's dead to be alive.
But
Alrighty, on that note,
yeah.
um, the only other episode I really want to touch on here, the last one was pretty good, but the one before that was, well, Fizz, I'll let you take it away because we were talking about it earlier.
Well, I just watched this one today, and I just want to point out before we do, favorite moment from the premiere, definitely a Crowley family Christmas. Okay, if you haven't seen that one, just watch the first few minutes of the of episode 10, I believe it was season 11, episode 10. Just watch the first few minutes. You will love it. I guarantee it. But we're gonna skip over an episode, as there's one actually between the premiere and the episode we're about to talk about. But
Yeah.
not a whole lot happened in the episode prior to this one, so we're gonna jump right to this one. Well, I guess a lot of stuff did happen. Cassifer, as I'm now calling him, for now, has completely got Dean convinced that he's still Cass, which is shocking. You'd think Dean would be able to see right through that, but apparently he can't. He's jaded.
It is Dean.
Is Dean. But we're going to jump right into what I would love to call a planted spin-off, but I doubt it is. But, you know, if the powers that be of the CW are listening, you know, you've talked about your Supernatural spin-off for 2 years. Well, you just saw it, okay? It just happened. None of this Bloodlines crap. That's your spin-off. And that is the Mills family. The Mills family. That's what I'm calling this episode. Mills Family Fun. That's what I'm calling that episode. It saw Alex's past as a vampire food catcher come back to haunt her as one of the last vampires that returned in the coven and the nest she used to work for, made their way to the city of the Mills family and wreaked havoc on Jody and Claire and Alex, all while having a whole lot of fun. And let's just talk about the family dinner, okay? It's not often you get to see Sam and Dean actually sit down to eat dinner. This one, definitely the best dinner scene that we've had in the series.
It was amazing. The exchange at the dinner table, and the we're going there. was
Sam just still wolfing down. Let's not forget the this is chicken, not chicken shaped patties, not chicken in a box, not frozen chicken. This is real chicken. It's very clear the boys don't get to eat real food very often.
Geez, you wouldn't think that's true given their appearance, but hey, what do we know?
Well, I mean, in their defense, they can
Some
eat
high protein.
They
fast
can
food.
eat all of the cheeseburgers and stuff they want for the sheer amount of running around they do on a weekly basis.
Yes, they probably burn more calories than the average Joe.
I'd say that's a safe bet that they burn more calories than probably anyone. You know, getting thrown around like a rag doll burns calories too. You know?
This is true.
So this one
Sort of.
happened. This happened. You know, you had a vampire attacking the town. Of course, Claire is the only one that thinks anything is up. Jody does not believe her because, well, she's apparently cried wolf about a half dozen times before this, including nearly chopping off a poor innocent boy's head, thinking he was a werewolf. It's beautiful things. You get to see people trying to straddle the line between Hunter and normal life. It's just perfectly. The dichotomy was clearly shown in that episode, especially towards the end, when Alex makes it very clear that the Hunter's life is not her life.
Episodes like that make me wish we seen more of Jody Mills.
Absolutely. Jody Mills is probably one of the unsung characters in the whole series, in my opinion.
Although, it's probably a good thing we don't see more of her because she'd probably be dead by now. You know, their tendency to kill off everybody but Sam and Dean.
She's a woman in the Winchester's life. The fact she's lasted this long, even in the amount of episodes she's been in, is still shocking.
Fizz, so why don't you give the viewers some of the news that's come out today about Supernatural and what might be happening? This is spoiler alert to everybody.
Today's big news is that Mr. Rob Benedict is set to return to Supernatural for an episode later in the season. Now, if you don't know who Rob Benedict is, well, why? you should, if you're a Supernatural fan, absolutely know who Rob Benedict is. But that is our favorite prophet, Chuck. He is set to return in episode 20. Now, a lot of people, myself included, are firmly in the Chuck is God camp.
I don't know if I'm firmly in it, but I can certainly buy it.
I'm in it. I'm firmly in it. I don't think you can change my mind about that one. Short of Jeffrey Dean Morgan showing up as God, I can't really buy anyone else as God anymore at this point.
That's a fair point.
But Chuck is set to return in episode 20, which will be, of course, one of the final episodes of the season. So the real question is, what is going to bring Chuck back? The last time we saw Chuck was at the end of the 200th episode when he showed up at the auditorium.
I'm going to predict that he and Sam and Dean didn't see him either.
They did not.
So it's been a long time since they've seen Chuck. I'm going to go out on a limb and say he shows up and he has knowledge about God. Whether it's location or just general knowledge. And the boys are going to try to get it out of him.
Do the boys not think Chuck is dead?
I don't know.
Because I want to say the last time we saw Chuck would have been when he died.
Did he ever die, though? Like, I don't recall ever seeing him die.
No, but it was kind of one of those... for some reason, I think the last time we saw him was an ambiguous... let's see. His last episode was season 8, episode 20, prior to the... No.
I believe his last episode was season 5.
I'm actually looking through it here, and... yeah, the last time we saw Chuck was when he disappeared.
Last episode, season
season 5, episode 22. He's been mentioned a few times since then, which is why the list I was reading.
Well, I guess the last time we seen Chuck was the last season, but last time.
Yeah, the last time we saw him was at the end of Fan Fiction, which was the 200th episode. But the last time Chuck interacted with the boys would have been season 5, episode 22, Swan Song, which was, the finale and featured the great voiceover. The history of the boys, the battle, and all of that. But the last time we saw him was when he literally disappeared and evaporated into thin air. So that has led a lot of people to think that he's God, myself included.
Now, do you think he's God at that point? Or do you think he literally is Chuck? And that he ends up becoming God's vessel? Being a prophet and all.
That's a tough one. I mean, we know that prophets are picked by God. We learned that through the years. But the fact he just disappeared at the end of that episode really made me think he was God. Ensuring the battle actually happened.
Well, John Winchester kind of disappeared too.
Well, not to the same degree though. I mean, John was it was his soul that disappeared. You could argue that was his body being absorbed into heaven. There's a lot of arguments to be made there because John was dead at that point. He wasn't in a body. He wasn't in a vessel. He was just his spirit that escaped through the door to hell. So I wouldn't even put the two in the same category.
Let me throw this up there as responsibility. Wait for it.
Okay.
Get you ready? I said, are you ready?
Yes, for the thousands in attendance and the millions wishing they were, I am ready.
What if John is Negan?
You're on the wrong show, Chief.
I think that went over.
No, I got that. You're trying to do some weird crossover action here.
I just meant Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Well, that's true. That's true, but...
That's why. Yeah, so... I'm going to go with one over your head. I would not be against Chuck being God. I'm all for it. I'm also all for Chuck being Chuck. talking, God uses him as his vessel. I mean, one would think if God summoned you to be his vessel, you'd probably disappear anyways. It's, to our knowledge, the most powerful being in the universe.
It's a tough one to say. When exactly did he go from being Chuck Shirley prophet to being Chuck Shirley vessel of God? Obviously that transition had to have happened at some point. And there's no way in my mind I can buy God at the Supernatural convention in season 5. Okay, that one I just can't. I can't.
Awesome episode.
Great
one
episode,
of the best of all time.
but it just, I can't buy that being God. At some point between the convention and the final, maybe it was just the fact that he finished. When a prophet's, for all we know, that when a prophet's job is done, they disappear. We don't really know what happens to a prophet once they've reached the end of their story, because we've never seen that before. No prophet during the course of the show, I mean, yes, we've had 2, but no prophet during the course of the show has been able to tell his story. So perhaps that was the end of his story, which was when he was sucked up into heaven, and it was after that he became the actual straight up vessel of God.
I think they're both distinct possibilities.
Because with Kevin as a vessel, he never had a story. There was no, Kevin wasn't really an activated prophet until presented with the tablet. So it's hard to say exactly.
I apologize, Dad. I was flushing a plug down the toilet, ladies and gentlemen.
Always nice to hear your working plumbing on air. But yeah, it's just it's hard to say exactly. Our knowledge of prophets is very loose. We know that. It's just, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Episode 20 is just around the corner. Yeah, we just had 13 last week, so 14 is tomorrow. So, just have to wait and see. It's only a few more weeks away. And we'll actually get a chance to see what Chuck's presence is all about.
I do think we've run a little bit of overtime today, so we apologize to those that are listening live right now. We're not going to have time to get to Arrow, Flash, and or DC Legends tomorrow, or Scandal. One of our 2 main Scandal guys is missing in action anyway.
And the other one hasn't watched the premiere yet.
I actually have. It was quite good.
I haven't watched it yet.
The ending is jaw-dropping, if you ask me.
Wow, that's coming from you. So, Olivia got shot. Because I'm pretty sure that's the only ending that would make your jaw drop.
That would have me celebrating.
I think it would still class as jaw dropping. Dog clearly loves the hardwood floor, huh?
Yes. You can hear him.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Just tapping away on the floor.
He needs his claws trimmed.
But yeah, I think that's all we got for tonight.
That is a wrap. Oh, there is an announcement, and the announcement is we are working on no premiere date. Just came up. I mean, we've been flirting around the idea a little bit, anyways. Is we're working on a sports show for the Empire Network that would likely debut once every 2 weeks. We can tell you this: you can catch the S&J trade deadline show on the Empire Network. When is that, Fitz?
That would be February 29th?
29th, yes. Yes, February 29th. So you can catch the NHL trade deadline show, the S&J show, February 29th, and we will have predictions.
All of our listeners are sitting there, S&J show. Why are these guys plugging an S&J show? That doesn't make sense.
You will find out in due time, but we'll cover stuff like hockey, football.
I'd say we should change it to the S&M sports show, but I think we draw an unwanted crowd.
Football, etc. on our sports show, but we don't have time for it to be a weekly show, so it'd be like a maybe a 1 hour bi-weekly thing, just catching up on everything that's going on in the world of sports. Also, big thanks to those that joined our Empire Network NASCAR Fantasy Pool. Anyways, Biz, take her away.
Well, it's been a pleasure being here with all of our fine listeners as we took another trip into the small screen temple. Join us tomorrow night for our live recording of Star Wars Wastelands. That's Wednesday nights on channel 1138, or you can catch the recorded version on Thursday or whenever it gets uploaded on the Empire Network. We hope you guys are enjoying our product. Stick around. We got a lot of great things in store for you in the future. It's been a pleasure.
Oh, don't forget Star Wars Wastelands tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Eastern on channel 1138.
Clearly, somebody didn't listen to a thing I just said in the last 30 seconds.
Yeah, obviously.
A little preview for that. We're going to talk about episode 8 news that has come out. We're going to talk about some Obi-Wan news, Star Wars Rebels, and I see Old Republic fan reboot, and a bunch more. We got one hell of a show for you tomorrow night.
Join us. That's
Or die.